Imagine that life is like a boat on a river. This river has a current which flows from A to B. Okay? Life is like a boat floating on a river. And the river has a current that floats from point A to point B. Now, if the boat was just to float along the current, you can imagine that the boat can go from point A to point B with little or no effort. Furthermore, if we were to put some effort, let's say a human being rowing the boat, and align it with the current going from A to B, can you imagine that the boat will go pretty fast from A to B? Furthermore, if we were to invest some resource in, let's say a motor, and you can imagine that the boat now will be able to go from point A to point B pretty quick. Okay? There is also another scenario that the current is going from A to B, but we are actually rowing against the current. We may make effort to go against the current. We may even put on a motor and run against the current. You can imagine that we can get from where we want to, which is B to A, right? We're going against the current, so we're going from B to A, and we'll be able to get from B to A. But the moment that we stop making the effort, the moment that we stop turning on the motor, then the boat will just float back to where it was before. Okay? So this is important, and we need to get a clear understanding of this principle so that we understand everything that we're going to be talking about in this entire educational system. Life is like a boat on a river. The boat has a current that goes from point A to point B. If we do nothing, when we just align ourselves with the current, then the boat will be able to float from point A to point B with little effort. If we put in some effort and align ourselves with the current, we can go from point A to point B very quickly. And if we invest some resources in the form of a motor, an engine, technology, while aligning the boat with the current, then we can get to our destination. We go from A to B very, very fast. However, we could also try to go against the current. But we can put in a lot of effort and resources in going from B to A, which is against the current. And we can still get to where we want, against the current, B to A. However, the moment that we stop making the effort, the moment that we stop investing the resources, the boat would just float right back. And so, the boat here represents our life, and the current represent the principles and the laws that are governing our life. If we align ourselves with principles and laws, then we can get to where we want, A to B, very quickly. With some effort, we can go very fast. But if we go against principles and against laws, then we will run into trouble. Okay? It will be a lot of effort to go against the current. And yes, we can make an effort to go against the current from B to A, but the moment that we stop making the effort, the moment that we stop putting in the resources or the technology, our boat will go right back to where it was. And oftentimes, we may even have to suffer the consequence, pain, suffering, losses, right? Loss of time, loss of effort, loss of financial and material resources, because we have been going against the current, against principles and laws. Now, when it comes to principles and law, there are human principles and the social laws. Here, we'll focus on the principles and law that are universal and natural to all of us. So we're going to be talking about universal principles and natural laws. Okay, and so the idea is that if we want our life to be healthy and happy, if we want to achieve our goal in relationship, in finances, in mental health and physical health, anything like that, we need to align ourselves with universal principles and natural laws. Okay, so at this point I invite you guys to stop the video, pause it. You can go back and repeat and review it, just let it play again and see if you can get the key point. But I invite you to take a moment to reflect upon your own life. Think about your own life. You know, from the time you were born to the time we went to school, the time we grew up, and throughout our entire life. At what point in our life has things been easy going? Things have been smooth sailing. And at what point in our life had things been difficult, where we had to put in a lot of effort, we had to invest a lot of resources just to get to where we want. And the moment that we stop making those efforts, we go back to where we was. In terms of our health, in terms of our relationship, even in terms of our finances. So mental health, physical health, social health, all of that, you can kind of reflect. Okay, so take some time to reflect. Where in my life have I making unnecessarily hard effort to try to get somewhere, but at the end, instead of getting where I want, I feel like I've taken a step backward. I had to maybe pay the price with some pain or losses. After your reflection, we will explore the principles and laws that will allow you to experience the kind of life that is easygoing, where you can get to where you really want really fast with little or no effort. Okay, and that is the mission of this program, is to allow you to get the kind of result that you want with minimal effort, minimal time, minimal money, minimal pain and suffering. Okay, but it's important that you do the reflection, so take some time to go over the reflection. So go ahead and take a moment to do that, and then we will continue the lesson.